Greetings from London to our colleagues in Geneva and to all those who have joined us online. First of all, I would like to thank the Biotrade Initiative team of UNCTAD for facilitating the launch of our publication at the 7th Biotrade Congress. I hope that we all have a fantastic and productive remaining time at the Congress. I am very honored to present our publication titled Empowering Change, Unleashing Policy Innovation Towards Global Sustainable Consumption. It is a document developed through the support of the project Post-2020 Biodiversity Framework-EU support, as implemented by Expertise France and generously funded by the European Union. This publication seeks to put a spotlight on the transformative solution of consumer protection to reduce waste, mitigate biodiversity loss, and recalibrate our approach to global sustainable consumption. But before I present the 3 key messages of empowering change, this publication could not have been possible without the invaluable contributions of our partners and contributors, including Consumers International, the Working Group on Biodiversity and Consumption of the One Planet Network's Consumer Information Program, and also special thanks to Anna Cipriano and the Biotrade team from UNCTAD. Also, Clark Garrett from UNEP, Kost Breslavsky from the Consumer Information Program of the One Planet Network, and last but not the least, Chaturvedi A. from Consumers International. Their expertise and insights have been crucial in shaping this publication. I am now delighted to share insights with you. Thank you. In introducing the first key message of empowering change, we delve into the question, how can consumer protection become a transformative action to drive sustainable consumption and mitigate biodiversity loss? Exploring the global consumption patterns and the theory of change, the publication reveals that more than half the global population now forms part of the consumer class, a group set to swell further fueled by digital market expansion, resilient in the face of economic health and geopolitical disturbances. The intensifying climate crisis and the unequal global strain on resources spotlight the pivotal role of consumers, particularly in wealthy nations with substantial consumption footprints. It is crucial to acknowledge that while less affluent countries bear the brunt of vulnerability, mindful consumer choices hold the power to enact widespread change. This paper asserts that genuine sustainable consumption must confront these imbalances, as well as demand-driven side issues such as intention-action gap, which is the disconnect between eco-conscious awareness and actual consumer behavior. To bridge this gap, a theory of change is suggested, employing consumer protection measures to advance sustainable consumption. This will be through the collaboration of governments and the private sector, promoting a suite of strategies that integrate the consumer's economic, ethical, cultural, social, educational, and technological considerations. Moving on to key message 2, we highlight the crucial partnership between governments and the private sector in mainstreaming sustainable consumption to mitigate biodiversity loss. This partnership is framed within the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, or GBF, specifically in targets 15 and 16. The GBF envisions a future where we live in harmony with nature by 2050, with targets set to be achieved by 2030. Yes, that's 6 years of urgent action from now. Setting our eyes on the GBF vision, we envisage a balanced approach that integrates the health of biodiversity with economic and social prosperity. Governments are tasked under Target 16 to empower consumers with education and accessible information to make smarter and more sustainable choices, aiming for a future where everyone consumes more responsibly by considering that we all live in a planet that has resource limits. Simultaneously, GBF Target 15 points out that all businesses rely on nature in some way, but often do not realize or report how they affect it. Target 15 stresses the importance of businesses understanding and sharing how they impact biodiversity and the risks they face from its loss. The target also highlights the key role of governments in making it easier for businesses to do this through clear rules and support. As expected, there will be challenges and time is running out to reach targets 15 and 16 by 2030. Do we have a potential solution to address them? Key message 3 brings us to the core of the publication on the synergy of the UN Guidelines for Consumer Protection, or the UNGCP, and the GBF targets 15 and 16. Unfortunately, many existing consumer protection laws do not fully address sustainable consumption. Designed to be adaptable to the diverse context of the UN member states, the UNGCP frames sustainable consumption as fulfilling our current and future needs in a manner that balances economic, social, and environmental sustainability. As a practical tool to implement GBF targets 15 and 16, our study found 5 key complementary actions for governments and the private sector to consider. First, sustainable consumption. The UNGCP supports the transition to sustainable consumption patterns, directly complementing Target 15 by encouraging practices to reduce impacts that exacerbate biodiversity loss. Number 2, legal and policy frameworks. The UNGCP provides a blueprint for crafting legislation and policies that uphold consumer rights whilst fostering sustainability, aligning with the objectives of Target 16 on informed choices and transparent practices. Number 3, business engagement. Emphasizing transparency and compliance, the UNGCP highlights the role of businesses in biodiversity conservation, complementing Target 15's call for corporate, especially the big ones, responsibility and sustainability practices. Through number 4, consumer protection from misleading information and practices like greenwashing, the UNGCP enhances the effectiveness of Target 16's aim to empower consumers for sustainable choices, complemented by 5, education and information, which is important in narrowing the intention action gap, especially with the growing number of digitally savvy consumers. This echoes Target 16 by providing consumers with essential knowledge and tools for making environmentally responsible choices. I will now hand it over to my dear colleague Ana Cipriano, who will wrap up our presentation. Thank you for attention.